Good morning or good afternoon, and welcome to another computer science tutorial. In this class, we'll be talking about creating a small program to create variables, display text, use concatenation, and input in small basic. So let's get to it. Alright, so over here, I already set out some comments. How can I write a comment? Simply I put an apostrophe in the beginning, and then I can write anything and it will be recognized as a comment. That will not in any way affect the program. This is just for readability, to make it comfortable for you to understand what the code is, especially if you haven't seen it in a long time or if you're beginning. It's good to comment about the concepts that you're using and all the functions and how you're doing the steps. Okay? It's good that you practice doing this whenever you have a doubt on something, on a certain function, and then you use it. Go ahead and comment it out to something that will as something that will help you, just in case the doubt about that specific area or concept comes back again. Okay, so now I am simply going to review the topics that we've already talked about in the video conferences for the assignment that will be available on Teams. So now, the first thing that we already know how to do is how to display text in a window, and how to create a program that displays the text. So right now, the keywords that we would use would be text, window, to open up the console, which is the black screen with text only. Right here, it gives you a definition of what the text window class is, right here. And now we're gonna use a function from text window, which is writeLine. So you can write it down, open a parenthesis. Over here on the right side, you might see how it's supposed to work. So whenever you, over here, that's better. Whenever you use a function or a class, whatever, like text window, the class text window, or the function writeLine, it will explain to you how it works and what you can do with that function. Okay? So over here, inside quotation marks, we're going to write, this is a display of text. And once we run it, we will see this is a display of text right here. See? Alright, now, to initialize variables. To initialize variables, all we have to do is give the variable a name. Alright, if we were to say, for example, Jack has X amount of apples. So a better and suitable name for the variable X would be amount of apples. Or apples, right? So amount of apples equals 5. So Jack has 5 apples. I could also go ahead and put -1 because he gave one away. So Jack has 4 apples. So amount of apples will be equal to 4. Okay? Now, let's put a simpler name than that. So let's go ahead and let's find out the total amount of students that we have in one classroom. We need to find out how many boys we have. Boys, let's say we have 12. How many girls we have? Girls, we have 13. And let's also put, those are numerical variables that only contain numbers. And now let's do a string. So a text, right? A variable that contains a text. So let's put teacher name with no spaces, remember. Each word starts with a capital letter. That's how we know the separation between words in a variable name. Just like over here when we're calling out classes or functions. Okay? Now, teacher name is, in this case, Mr. Vasquez. Notice that I can put spaces in here, and I can also put dots, exclamation marks, even numbers, like that. But they will not be numerical. You cannot add a text that says 1 plus another text that says 1, right? So right here, we have teacher name. That's a text variable. And now we're going to use concatenation with the plus symbol. This is when you join one text with another text, or when you join one variable with text. So let's say we want to display by using the keywords over here, just text window, right line, and we are going to go ahead and put the quotation marks. Without the quotation marks, we could put the variable, but then it wouldn't give us any context whatsoever. Notice that over here, when we initialize the variables, we're not displaying anything. Everything is just being stored. It's like creating a special place in the storage for that information. Now if we run it, we have, this is a display, which is the first line over here, and then Mr. Vasquez, which is text window, right line, right here, teacher name. Simply that. So who is Mr. Vasquez? What does he want? Why is he there? Why does it say Mr. Vasquez, right? So the reason is that he is the homeroom teacher, for example, right? So we need to say that, to specify that, because if not, everything's going to be kind of random for the person that's using the program. So let's go ahead and put homeroom teacher, 2 dots, and concatenate. You see, this part over here is where we're concatenating. I left a space because remember that a space is also a character, just like an exclamation mark, arroba, hashtag, space. That's also a character. So right now, if I leave it like this without a space, teacher name, my name, Mr. Vasquez, will be very, very close to these 2 dots. It's going to be like there's no space in between. So I put a space right there inside the quotation mark, okay? So right here, now this is way better. Now it's understandable, see? Homeroom teacher, 2 dots, space, Mr. Vasquez. You see? So that's how we do concatenation. We can concatenate also like text window right here. Dot right line. And we can concatenate 2 strings together like this. Let's say 1 plus the text of 1 plus text 1. Check out what happens. Instead of giving 2, what? I'm going to cut that out. Alright, so it gives me the teacher name right here, which is homeroom teacher, Mr. Vasquez. Now, okay, after we have concatenation with the symbol, we have all that, now we can use all these variables and display them in a manner that is understandable. Alright, we already did that in the video conference. So I'm going to move on to input. Now, input. Putting in information or data. Okay, this is when you let the user go ahead and write, for example, you ask them for their name, and they go ahead and put their name in, and you store it in a variable like this. But how are we going to let the user put in information? How are you going to interact with the user? How is this program going to interact with the user? Well, simple. First, we need to ask them, what is it that you want the user to input? So let's go ahead and display a question for them. Text window, right line. And the question will be, or you could put it like, please enter your grade. Or what grade are you in? For example, please enter your grade. And then we're gonna create a new variable, right here, grade. We're gonna create grade. And we're gonna assign that it's going to be equal to whatever the user inputs, to whatever the user, once they run the program, whatever they enter in their keyboard. And the only way it's going to be stored into the grade variable, into here, the only way you're going to put that information in here is when the user presses enter. Alright, so over here we're going to put text window. Same thing, instead of write, the computer, instead of having the computer write something, you're going to have the computer read something that you write, or the user writes. There we go. And then just to test it out, let's go over here. Look at this. So we have, please enter your grade. Okay, so my grade is 7. enter. You see, it did nothing with that information because we haven't told it to do anything yet. Okay, so let's just go ahead and display that information. How? Well, let's say, okay, you are in 7th grade, for example. So let's say over here, we're going to use concatenation for that. The same way we did here with the teacher name. We're going to go ahead and say, you are in space, concatenate with the new variable right here, plus grade. You know why? Because if we leave it like this, check this out. Check it out how it looks. You are in, please enter your grade. I am in 8th. You are in 8th. 8th what? 8th what? No. So we go ahead over here, concatenate with another string, and put grade. 8th and a space before the word, because if not, it's going to be all bundled up together, and you wouldn't want that. So let's go ahead and run it, and here we go. 8th. Let me close in. You are in 8th grade. Ta-da! Alright guys, so that was a quick review of what we did in the classroom, in the virtual classroom mapping. So I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, or let me know through email. You're gonna see the assignment posted up real soon in Teams. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.